Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today in Porsche Paradise. We're going to be visiting the Porsche Museum before coming back here to the storage to take a look at the most incredible and rare Porsches in the world. Things like the 918 and 918 RSR concepts. We have the entire lineup of GT models, GT cars. We have the 919s from Le Mans as well as the 919 Tribute, plus the race cars like the 956s, 962s, RS Spyders and the 911 GT1s. Today, if you like Porsches, is going to blow your mind with this special access to the collection of the Porsche Museum. This is honestly almost an impossible place to begin. We'll take a very quick look around here before we go over to the museum where some of the most special cars are on display. But as we come through, you can spot the noses of 918 Spyders, 911 GT3 RS 4 litre, an incredible line of the 919s from Le Mans. In the middle there, we have the 919 Tribute, the car that broke the Nürburgring Nordschleife lap record. If we come through here, just take a quick glimpse around to the right in a second. 918 Spyders, and yes, there are about 8 of them in a row here. If we turn to the left, down this way, we've got Carrera GTs, just about everything. In fact, around the corner, there's an entire line of the history of the GT models, the GT3s, GT3 RSs, GT2 RSs. But first, before we go completely under the skin of the collection here, let's head over to the museum to take a look around there. How incredible is the view from this vantage point here inside the Porsche Museum? It goes all the way from 1900 with Ferdinand Porsche's first electric car through some hybrids. Tucked in under there, you can see the Pink Pig 917. Down here we have some cars from Porsche's motorsports successors. We've got a 911 tucked just underneath. Over there, the Mission E concept that came before the Taycan. We've got the 918 Spyder and plenty more. But let's go for a quick look around here to pick out some of my highlights. I'm going to start us off with these two very different cars, but this is the 919 that was victorious at Le Mans in 2015, 16 and 17, the hat-trick of 24-hour race victories for Porsche, and it's actually still finished in its post-race grime. It's even been lacquered over to preserve the look, exactly how it finished and was victorious in the race. Then alongside that, something I've never seen before. This was the first running prototype for the Porsche 918 Spyder. It's actually based around the chassis of the Carrera GT, but with the powertrain, the hybrid running system of the 918, the first rolling chassis to really test out this and see how it was going to work out. Of course, it's of the car that has since gone into production, but this is really quite fascinating when you see it like this. Yes, there are some very big panel gaps. It is not designed to look pretty, it is designed to be an engineering test to experience whether it's all going to work. Of course, we've then got a few other demonstrations and examples of race cars and different models that have gone into production. Up here, we've got the RSR, we've got a 918 Spyder safety car, behind that the Turbo S exclusive series, and this is just the start. Going past the Panamera GTS with the very unusually coloured wheels, we have a stunning liquid silver 918 Spyder. That was the special halo colour that launched with the 918. Macan GTS, and then the Mission E. This was the concept launched at the IAA Frankfurt Motor Show in 2015 of what has now become the Taycan, but the car that wowed the world as Porsche's first all-electric sports car with its 4 doors. And obviously you can see some of the design that has evolved into the Taycan, but I remember quite how much of a big deal this was when it was first shown. Just look at this view. Down here, I can actually spot the first ever turbo and the latest Turbo S, but right here we have the Ruby Stone or Ruby Star Red, depending on the region, Carrera RS, the 964 RS. I've actually driven this exact car before myself. We've got a 993 Turbo S. I'll just look down there, the Moby Dick 935, the 962 up on the roof. There's a lot to see here. This is something you might not have known. Before Ferdinand Porsche founded the company back in 1948 with the introduction of his first sports car, he'd always been a pioneer of technology, and in fact, back in 1898 had made an electric car. In 1900 released this hybrid. It has electric motors inside the wheels, batteries underneath, and actually a combustion engine used to charge the batteries. A pioneer of technology when you consider that that was 120 years ago, and long before we're seeing the resurgence of this kind of technology in the modern era. Still long before the Porsche brand was established as a sports car manufacturer in 1939, this was the Type 64, a concept, and I guess you could say the precursor to the 356, but most famously, the Volkswagen Beetle. It was a result of Ferdinand Porsche's work. Volkswagen, the people's car, and in fact, they made 21,565,624 of them, with Porsche receiving a commission 5 Deutschmarks on every car that was made, and that actually went on to be quite a thing. There are lots of Porsche patents that are used in all sorts of cars to this day. There is a hidden gem right here. This is the book that Porsche used to keep track of all of their projects. So for example, the 356 was their 356th project. You've got the likes of the 718, 719, everything just going through. This book is obviously insanely valuable. This is more significant than you might think. After the Second World War, when funds were tight, Cisitalia commissioned Porsche to develop this as a Formula 1 car. It has a 1.5 litre, 180 degree V12 with twin superchargers and magnesium tanks on either side of the driver. But critically, at the time, it gave Porsche the funds to go ahead and develop this, the 356, and this is the original #1 prototype. It's a mid-engine, where the car eventually came out to be rear-engined, but this was the prototype of what turned out to be a huge success. Originally, over 5 years, they wanted to build 500. They did, over 12 years, make 78,000 of them. It would be impossible to tell you about everything that is in here, but you can get the picture that this is a very, very special environment. As we go through different eras of cars, different technologies that Porsche introduced for motorsport, leading towards the concept for the 901 that became the 911, and then the first one itself, the 57th actually that was ever made, the eldest that the Porsche Museum keep in their collection. But you can actually see how it developed on from this slightly odd looking rear section to the beautiful car that has made its name as one of the most famous in the world. The fabulous display just continues. Motorsport success everywhere you look, road cars as well, and in fact the 914 here is one of just 2 cars that were made featuring the 8-cylinder engine from the 908. We've got the 917 just come through here. We've got the Pink Pig, made famous for its livery. Despite not winning a race, it was one of the most famous and popular cars on the grid thanks to the design that it was given, and it's been replicated many times since. Over on this side we've got the Carrera Rarest, the famous 2.7 RS. I think it was basically the fastest sports car available at the time. On the left here we have the 935 Moby Dick, a particularly famous car. It was far ahead of the pack back when it was racing, but opposite it, on the roof, we have a 956. Now the reason that is sitting upside down at the moment is because it offered so much downforce with ground effect that literally it could drive upside down. It would hold itself to the ceiling when it's going quickly. The Porsche 959, the predecessor to the Carrera GT, you could say the successor to the 2.7 RS, their first real, well, hypercar of the day, the first 200 mph production car, and famous for the 959 rally version that did the 14,000 kilometers of the Paris to Dakar rally, victorious, based on its road car sibling. 911 Carrera police car, of course, but no longer are there Porsche police cars here in Germany because, of course, there is far too much traffic to be able to escape whatever car you are in. 2 standout cars for me, the 911 GT1. These used to take part in spectacular races back in the late 90s against the CLK GTRs. We'll also head in a moment to go and see one of the road versions, and then opposite it, we have a Guards Red Carrera GT. This is probably one of the highest mileage Carrera GTs. It's done about 50,000 kilometers. They made just over 1,300 of them in total, and it is one of my favourite cars in the world to drive. This is a special corner. We're inside the workshop where they bring the cars in, keep them running. Out of the 740 cars in the collection, 150 or so are kept running and in working order. New additions include the GT2R, you've got the 911 ST, and then behind, check out this display at the bottom, we've got the GT3 RS 991.1, we've got the 981 GT4, GT3 Cup, 997 GT2, an IndyCar, and then the 996 911 GT1, which is a spectacular thing. They made 21 of these in total, of the 996s, 2 of the 993s. Oh, and check this out. The key is inside. I wish I could take this out for a drive. How epic would this be? I mean, this was seriously the ultimate in race car for the road. Only really built due to the homologation requirements, he says. Got to close the door firmly, but basically, race car in the silver paintwork, looking incredible. Back at the storage, let me take you for a walk around, a bit of a guided tour of some of the highlights that stand out to me, but with over 700 cars as part of the collection, it would take an eternity to name everything. We've got all of the different cars, from the race cars to the classics, the 919 Tribute, we'll go and have a look at that. We've got all of the special iterations of the production cars, and plenty more. There there is so much to see here. As I referred to it earlier, this is Porsche Paradise. Now the first area that we have here is filled with the special 911s, so the GT3s and the GT3 RSs, and some of the other models, including this, which was 911 number 1 million. In fact, if we come through, it is even badged 911 number 1 million. We've got the houndstooth interior, and alongside it is another special car, the tribute to number 57. So the number 57 911 that we saw in the museum, this is the exact same specification. If we continue through, the newest Speedster, the 991.2. Next to that, we've got the Turbo S exclusive series, and you can recognise it from the carbon fibre exposed stripes on the bonnet. That was the prototype of the new Speedster. You can recognise the fuel filler cap in the centre. Then we've got the 911R, we've got a 991.1 GT3, 991.2 GT3, this was the Touring without the wing on the rear. Then we've got the 2.2 GT3 with a wing in the yellow, the Lava Orange is the .1 GT3 RS, the Lizard Green is the .2 GT3 RS Visac package, we've got the 996 GT3 RSs, we've got all sorts of different cars, Cayman 981 GT4, 997.2 GT3 RS, 997 GT2 RS, 997 GT3, 991 Carrera T. You see where this is going, all of the special models, two 997 Speedsters side by side there in the blue, and I want to pick out this Targa as well. This is quite a significant car. It was the last naturally aspirated 911 Carrera to ever be built. It's a Carrera GTS, a Targa in carmine red, and it has a manual gearbox as well. The last one to come off the production line before they moved to the turbocharged generation. Now, to carefully maneuver myself here between the cars, you can just get a feel for quite how much is around. In fact, two 959s here. We've got the regular 959, then the 959S, the updated car with new suspension, a bit more power as well. And you can tell the difference, I've just learned, by the door mirrors. The regular car has two, the S misses one on the passenger side. But look at this, just look at all of this. I don't really know how to touch on everything. GT2, Cayman R in the Peridot, the lime green on the inside. I mean, this is Porsche heaven. This is absolutely ridiculous. Standing here, walking amongst the calibre of cars, everything. There's nothing that's missing. The yellow car is a 2.7 RS. This is just mega. So I'm going to come through because this way we have some Carrera GTs, then we'll head up towards the 918s, and then we will get as well to the 919s. Yes, I know I'm going in a little bit of a circle, but things like there's a Carrera GT just there on the storage racks. Every room you go in just opens up, and there's more and more to see. So Carrera GTs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, this is extraordinary. All the different Panameras, 928s, everything, just everything. I mean, it's impossible to tell you about every single car. There's a fun thing here, VW fire truck from Visac, of course, where Porsche do the engineering of their GT products. We've got a GT2 RS here, the Visac package, another GT3 RS Visac, another 911R. This is mind-blowing. There's another 959. 959S just sitting up top there. Then we get to this area of 918 Spyders. Now, 1 918 is special, 2 is also special, but so are 8, I think we've got here. Martini livery, satin black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 8 918 Spyders in that little area. Lots of the KNs behind. Oh, GT3 RS 4 litre just up there. I think there are a couple of those dotted around the collection. And if we come through this way, we get to the 919s, the Le Mans cars. Of course, when they do this, when the cars take part in races, and especially when they're successful, they're often cars that are given new bodies for show purposes, maybe running original racing chassis. So we actually have a few of the 2016 cars. It was the black and white livery that was the winner that year. This engine, by the way, tucked in here, is just so happens to be from a 911 GT1. It's just casually chilling. The red one as well, I think that is the 2016 winning car. That exact car, still with its racing dirt, as you can see. And then that is the 919 Tribute, which was the result of basically Porsche throwing out the rule book of Le Mans and making the fastest race car they possibly could. The fastest thing to decimate racing circuits. It went around the Nürburgring Nordschleife in, well, a bit over 5 minutes. It's ludicrously fast. And this is, well, now sat here, obviously being prepared, ready to end up as part of the long-term collection in the museum. This is absolute paradise. If we come through here, you can spot the 996, 911 GT1 just there. In fact, there are a couple of GT1 race cars in the little display that we have here. And also, and a few more, well, there's another 919. This is absolutely absolutely insane what we're looking at. GT1, RS Spyder. I mean, I don't really know anymore. This is simply incredible. Just spotting the cars under covers and trying to work out a little bit what we're looking at. Of course, some are named, making life easier. GT3R, GT3 Cup, GT3 RSR, older Targa, obviously lots of the 356s, RS Spyders. This is unreal. I'm going to come have a look at these two. These two are very special as well. Oh, we've got another 959 Safari. Oh no, we don't. It's a different model. Sorry, apologies. Not a 959. 911 Safari. Oh wow, just wow. I want to come have a look. Being sidetracked here. That was the prototype 959 from the 80s. That's the original prototype that was first ever shown of what the 959 would look like. That was a prototype for a convertible Cayenne. I mean, you can see that from the fabric soft top, long before, I guess, the Evoque convertible and others arrived in that space. Come down here. I mean, just imagine if we pulled back all of the covers and took a look at absolutely every single car that we have here. The two 918s, I remember filming both of these. The original 918 Spyder concept, when it was launched the first time, you can tell this because they introduced cameras for the mirrors and it had side exit exhaust before they moved on to being on the rear deck. I think originally it was also said to just be 600 horsepower or so, and it ended up being 897 when it went into production. But next to that, the 918 RSR, imagining what it would become if it became a racing series. That never became anything, I believe, but would have been pretty epic if it did. Just, this is, well, no words really. Imagine that as your office, looking down at all of these. Just to come a little bit further down this way, got another 911R under the cover there, pretty distinct when you've got those stripes. We've got another 997 Speedster, in fact, another GT3 RS Visac from the 991.2. There's another of the 4 litres of the 997s. We've got a Miami Blue Boxster, so the Boxster GTS maybe, not entirely sure. I mean, just to look at this, the 996s and 997s. Actually, that's really cool. I love that. Is that a 997.2 GT3 RS in Ruby Stone? That's nice. I like that a lot. One day I'd love to have a car in this colour. I mean, is that another Speedster? Yeah, this is tractors as well. Porsche have the history with tractors, and many of the cars from the private collection of the family as well, also tucked into this amazing storage. So we're looking at hundreds upon hundreds of the most incredible Porsches ever. There are some of the Indy cars in those boxes up towards the far end as well. The 906s, the 956s, 962s. It's quite breathtaking. This is special. I have actually visited before a couple of years ago, but I tell you what, it was exactly the same wow factor on entering this room again now as it was back then. And I think you can probably sense that a little bit from the video because you see it as I'm seeing it. But to actually be here and take it all in, of course there's a 2.7 RS just tucked here as well, is otherworldly. This is breathtaking. Literally, the rarest and most exclusive Porsches in the entire world are all here in this room and over at the Porsche Museum. A huge thanks to the Porsche Museum for this opportunity to come and take a look and to share all of this with you. Special. I'm probably going to pop my camera down, have a sit, and just take it all in for a little bit longer. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this visit today here to Porsche in Zuffenhausen, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!